I remember somebody telling me if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. I read a news story this morning. It said 4 million people across the UK are now spending more on bills than they actually bring in. And I think that's a sad place to be. So today, I'm going to run through some things that might help people with regards to saving money and also making money. And it's also good to be back after a week off. The October break is always great. Anyway, let's look into it a wee bit more.
Let's go.
So yes, good afternoon. That was a great week off. I hope you enjoyed your October break. It was actually quite nice just to do nothing, other than get a haircut. I finally get rid of the long hair. It's so funny. I was going to record a video yesterday, and my hair was just so bouncy and bouffant because I'd put conditioner in it when I'd washed it. And I was like, fuck, I'm going to need to go and put wax and stuff in my hair and try and get it all down. And then I just thought, right, sod it. And I went down to the main street, walked in at the barber's and just said, mate, just going to shave my head to take all the long hair off. He's like, what style do you want? I was like, I don't care. Just take all the long hair off. I'm fed up with it. 10 minutes, 15 quid, and boom, back to normal. It's nice to feel the wind around your ears, the cold, crisp Glaswegian wind. So look, please give us a like, follow the page. We're on all the different platforms. The whole purpose of these broadcasts is just to let people know that there are really simple ways you can save money in this horrible environment we find ourselves in. And there's some really simple ways where you can make money. And I guess that week off I had there, I spent a wee bit of time socialising in pubs. And you can definitely see the difference. Down in Ayrshire, for example, if you're not Glasgow-based, Ayrshire's out in the countryside, out towards the coast. See, when you go into pubs there, like the same brand of pub in Glasgow will charge £4.70 for a pint of Tennent's. But yet, if you go to the same brand of pub down in Ayrshire, they're £2.99. And I'm just like, somebody's shafting somebody somewhere. And I just, and then I feel that the world is awfully kind of shafty. Do you not think? I just do think there's a lot going on. So, look, here's the kind of stories I saw this morning. So this is on The Guardian, and it was just The Guardian, and it basically saying, look, there's millions of people, 4 million people, spending more on their essential bills than they earn. That's frightening. And I guess that's just because if you look, before the pandemic, the cost of energy and broadband and stuff like that was a lot better than it is now. And you've obviously got Mad Ed Miliband wanting to go on his green energy mission, which sounds lovely. It does sound great in theory, but all it's doing for us right now is ramming the costs of energy up because it all has to be subsidised by the government, and they just hit us in taxes. But I thought it was quite a scary story, the fact that there's so many people being impacted like that. Like this line here, as I said, a lot of people are left with just £50 at the end of the month. Don't know if you can see that there. 50 quid at the end of the month they're left with after working, bringing in a living, paying all their bills, and they've got 50 quid left. I mean, Santa's coming. How on earth are you meant to help have a lovely Christmas if at the end of the month, after you've squared everything up, you've only got £50 left? I thought that was really scary. And then I thought, I'll have a wee dig, I'll see if anyone else. And this is The Independent. These are today. You can go onto these newspaper websites today. So this is not like old shit. So this is today in The Independent. New research shows that we're losing £343 every single month purely just because of having negative budgets. And again, this is just a little bit of, and I don't mean to sound, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, But what you've got here is you've got people that are, and I started this live by saying, if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always got. And that's because there are so many people that are just, they're fed up being fed up. So rather than maybe looking to swap their energy provider, for example, they just think, oh, they're all the same, they're all shysters. I'll just do what I'm doing anyway, and or my bills are high and it's just the way it is. Well, that's one way of looking at it, but another way of looking at it is there's maybe some better options out there that you're just maybe not opening your mind to. And that's kind of thing that we do as UW partners. Our role is to help people really reduce their outgoings, because if you can pay a lot less out, then that's more money in your pocket. Like I say, that story in the Independent was saying that, or the Guardian was saying people get £50 at the end of the month. Well, if you reduce your bills by £100 a month, which isn't unrealistic if you just do the right thing, then there's now you've got £150 at the end of the month rather than just having 50. So I don't know why this dude's pictures in it. I don't think he's anything to do with the story, but yeah, again, Citizens Advice are saying that also the average house is carrying 10 grand debt. And it all's projected to get pretty worse. So then it got me thinking, right, so here's what I did way before all these kind of cost of living things, but here's what I do for people. Basically, I help folk understand that they've got choices and they can register as a UW partner. You basically download that app that's on your screen. So it's in the App Store and it's on Google Play. And the app's called UW Partner. Now, to get access to the app, you need to register as a UW partner. So you speak to me or the UW partner you know, and you say, right, I want to make a few quid. How do I do it? They'll give you a link so that you can download this UW app, and then you've got the app on your mobile phone. And then once you've got the app on your mobile phone, you've got access to all these things in the app that allow you to basically help people save money. So once you've got the app, this is what you get. You get all these links. So I can basically share a link to somebody as a UW partner. I can be like, right, oh, I saw you were moaning that your current provider's shafted you or whatever, or you're not happy with your bills, or you're looking to save some money. Look, check this out. And I can literally just send them a link. And what the link does is it takes them to here, which is the Utility Warehouse website that they give all UW partners. So you see this one says, Save with Del Hughes. So there's 80,000 UW partners, and we all get that app once we've paid the tenner to head office in London. We've got some quick training that needs to be completed because we are, as a company, regulated by Ofgem and Ofcom and the FCA. But then once you've got your app, you can send these links to people, and that link basically sends somebody to my website. But it's all maintained by Utility Warehouse. There's our Which Awards. We're recommended as the best energy supplier. We're recommended as a broadband supplier. So Which magazine have done their own independent research, and they've said, right, the companies that are really good, we'll give them an award, and the companies that are really bad, we won't. We consistently get awards for various different things that we offer. But to currently hold energy and broadband, nobody else is doing that. So it shows that independently we are awarded as best. And it just says, look, we do energy, broadband, mobile, and insurance. If you get a quote, you can just press get quote, and then it takes them to a page where they can put their postcode in, essentially self-serve. It's like the checkouts at the supermarket. You do it all yourself. But when that customer takes the savings that are then presented in the final bundle, that pays me £250 if they do it the way an average customer does, because an average customer will join and take 3 services. So if they take 3 services, I get paid £250 just for helping Joe Blogs access a company he probably didn't know about because they don't advertise on TV. But when checked independently, they've got all the awards. There's the Which for energy, the Which for broadband. And then if I go further down, it says, look, we'll give people £400 towards their exit fees, because we know most folk are probably in the middle of a broadband contract. Don't worry, Mr. Customer, we'll pay that off for you so that you can still move to us, get faster speeds, get better service, and pay less as a bundle. You get the UK's cheapest energy, you get your cashback card, and then down the bottom, there's also our USwitch Awards and Trustpilot. I think Trustpilot's really important. So here's Trustpilot. See, I did set up all these slides. This is us on Trustpilot. Yeah, anyone can go on there and do a review. So you just obviously need to be a customer. They check, you need to give your account number and all that. So it's customers review their providers. There's us in Trustpilot, 4.3 out of 5. So 4.5 stars, rated excellent. That's really good. But sometimes folk will be, oh, no, I wouldn't use a wee Mickey Mouse company like that. I use Sky. And I'm like, and I show them the Sky reviews. And this is independent, it's impartial. You can go and do this yourself, go into Trustpilot, look at Sky for your own. If you're with Sky, I would ask you why. There's the kind of reviews they get, 1.3 bad. And then even Virgin Media, never off the telly, always advertising. But yet they spend all their money in adverts. That there tells me that once they've got the customer, they ain't looking after them. Because there's 100,000 reviews and they're 1.3 bad. Almost all the reviews bad. But as I say, if I go back to us, 4.3 great. Do we have? Yeah, I've got the odd bad review, but I don't mind that because that tells me it's honest. You can't please everybody all the time. As long as you're pleasing most people all the time, then that's how you build a strong company. But I'd much rather have our reviews than Sky's or Virgin's. And again, that's all we're doing as a UW partner. We're just helping people access stuff they didn't even know. Because most folk are making their buying decisions off the TV adverts that they do. So once you've got the app on your phone, it means you can start earning a bit of extra cash. It means that those stories I was telling you in the start about people having less money coming in and being more impacted by the cost of living, now they don't need to be because they can just run through these slides with people. Because all we do as a UW partners then show folk this information. Look, there's Ben, play a wee video, show them, look, you can get everything in one bill, one app, one direct debit, rather than 4 bills, 4 direct debits, 4 different companies, 4 different logins and passwords. So you get everything through one company. We're not a broker, we're the supplier. Then when you shop, doing what you do anyway, you get cash back that goes onto your bill, making your bill even cheaper. The more services you take when you start with us, the more credit we give you on your first, when you activate the cashback card we give you. So most folk take 3 services. So by taking 3 services, it means they also get an extra 100 quid credit when they join Utility Warehouse. Yeah, there's just some more awards just saying, look, just because you might not have heard of us doesn't mean that we're rubbish. We're actually, we've got over 1 million customers and growing fast, probably one of the fastest growing companies out there, just because folk are fed up being fed up. And once they get the new information, they go, oh, all right, so top in energy for which? Top in broadband, top in Uswitch, recommended by Citizens Advice, 5-star Trustpilot, 5-star de facto. It's all a bit boring, I know, but these are the things folk need to see. You get UK call centres, you can manage everything through an app, you can speak to our customer service department through WhatsApp. It's really, really, we embrace all the technology. So that is just the kind of things that are good ways for people to help themselves by not being impacted. Because if you're just in a traditional line of work, then that's great. It's good that you've got a job and stuff like that. But as costs increase, your salary probably isn't increasing in line with costs. So all that happens is at the end of the month, the squeeze gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And that's why folk might go, do you know what? I'll maybe do a little bit of that UW on the side, a couple hours a week, maybe make an extra 500 quid. But by doing that, it takes the pressure off. You still get your job, you still get your career, but you've just got a little bit of fun money, which means those horrific stories, like, as I say, going back to that one, £343 a month, people are being hit just because the bill's going up. It's pretty sad. And like I say, I still can't believe that. Just £50 left at the end of the month for an average household. I mean, if that was me and I had the ability to reach out to somebody I knew and have more money coming in and I didn't, I'd be like, okay, hell, let's say it's an interesting way to look after your family, I guess. Your job as a parent is to do the right thing, look after your wains, make sure that when Santa comes, he's got a full sack, plenty of stuff in it. So, yeah, I just thought I would share those news stories because I looked at it and I was like, wow, it's kind of horrific. Plus, first day back after having a lovely October break, I was like, yeah, let's just see what the news is saying about things. Although I am not a massive fan of the news, I think I try to get most of my news from X, to be honest. That's why I've got under my name Dell Dale Hughes X. Just because on X, although it can be a cesspit, and somebody did call it that recently, it's an unfiltered cesspit. Whereas the news is you get told information that an editor has predetermined how they're going to word it. Like I'll go to RT, watch the Russian news. I'm often one here. I'll go to RT and I'll read the Russian news. I'll go to CNN, the American web news. I'll also go to Fox News and I'll check the BBC. And the same news story is portrayed 4 completely different ways depending on what news channel you watch it on. And that's what I found out a while ago when I started having a bit more free time and I stopped just relying on one source of information. I started to question things a little bit more. I was like, well, the BBC says that about this subject. What does CNN say about it? What does RT say about it? And I realised that they all can take the same story, fanny it up completely different, so that if you're just the kind of person that gets their news from one source, for example, if you're getting your news from Facebook, then Jesus Christ, you are getting one-sided news thrown at you constantly because Facebook have fact checkers, which means if they don't agree with a story, it doesn't even get seen. Well, what if the people doing the fact checking are biased? Whereas on X, everything gets seen and then it gets community noted, so that if something's wrong, it'll get a community note against it saying this has been fact checked and it's wrong, which then means more people, when they see that story, see the note, and all of a sudden that fake news doesn't spread because it's now got a note sitting against it. Whereas news that is factual doesn't get noted, so it stays there, and it means the right and accurate news spreads. Like I saw John Cleese last week spread a fake news story on X, and within about 7 hours, it was totally closed down because it had been community noted with links showing how the news story he shared was fake. It's fake news. Looked real. Did look real. I'm to be honest. It looked real. When I did my own dig, I was like, oh, all right, okay. It's about a 6-year-old girl being arrested by American police, and it turns out she's 27. She's just tiny. And from the back, she looked like a minor, but it was actually a 27-year-old girl who'd been jaywalking. But that's just like, so it's important the different sources you get, which is why when I read news, I'm always reading different platforms to make sure I'm getting my right decision. Why did I start telling you all that? I've no idea. Check your sources, folks. Check your bloody sources. But X, although it might be, there's some crazy stuff going on there, but your job as an adult is to filter out what's real and what's not to just believe everything you read. And I appreciate you maybe don't have time to filter through stuff if you're working full time. I guess I've got a bit more time to do that. But yeah, I would definitely go to X for your stuff. I think that's my sermon over. X is better. Yes, it's got fake news in it as well, but like I say, it gets shown up as fake. Whereas on Facebook or Instagram, it doesn't, because some fact checker sitting there with say, yeah. You know what I mean. And if you're not, even if you don't agree with me, you can see my point, and I definitely know that you can. Because if you didn't even agree with me, if you're just going to say, no, Dale, you're wrong, you're being a little bit bold, maybe just kind of, not just trying to be right. Let's look at all sides first before making a decision. But yeah, that was that. Look, Jesus Christ, I don't think things are going to get any better. I think things are going to get tougher financially before they're going to get better. Which again is also why, I think there's probably going to be some kind of crash happening in the markets reasonably soon. When you look at the level of, if you just look at the stock markets, they're all all-time highs. What normally happens in all-time highs is the bubble bursts, because all-time high, that stock market has to do that, has to go up, come back. It's all about not Elliott wave, Wyckoff theory. People that trade will know what I mean. But stock market's at all-time high. I just think that there's going to be a crash soon, much like what happened in 2008, because all the AI companies are so high in value that they can't continue to just grow at this exponential level. And you see, when that crash hits, that's going to impact all of us worse. So if cost of living is really tough right now, and we're all struggling right now, say all the majority of people, not everyone, but most people on an average income are really struggling. And when that crash hits and the money printer starts, the government's going to start printing billions and billions, maybe trillions of dollars, then that's going to just devalue currency even more. So that means your spending power is worth even less. So means your money that's already tight now buys you even less, because when the big crash hits and the money printer kicks in, then we're just going to be screwed up even more. So yeah, you just need to bear these things in mind. And if you think I'm talking piss, just ask an AI. Ask Gemini, which is the Google one. Ask ChatGPT, which is the kind of wokey one. But it is pretty good, but it's definitely not programmed right. Use Grok, which I think is programmed to be truth-seeking. That's definitely a better AI. But just ask them, is there going to be a crash? And they'll probably say aye. So bear that all in mind. Good. Got to 20 minutes. Right. Other than that, have a lovely day. And yes, I will. I'll see you on the next one.